Yeah, a lot of positives coming out of Madison the other night. I was fairly disappointed actually in our first half in terms of our effort. I didn't think we guarded the ball very well, and then the second half I thought we became more active. And after the first 3 or 4 minutes where King was posting a lot, I thought we really settled in and did a nice job defensively, taking some things away. Kipper Nichols sliding over Garden King was disruptive. I did a nice job. We made a nice advantageous change in matchups there. And I thought it was very, very important in that game going back that their lead stayed at 5 or 6. It never got to 10 or 12. And as you know, playing Wisconsin, you get those leads and might as well be 25 sometimes. But great execution down the stretch. Io had 3 great assists that led to 9 points. Along with that, he had what we call a skip layup. Just froze a defender, and then of course the step back. So, Io was responsible for 14 points, but it was the right plays, and it was guys stepping up and making shots. And then Georgie down the stretch, a big time defensive play without fouling. We call those Mozgoffs, just walling up and making a defender shoot it over him. And then Allen did a terrific job of snatching the last rebound. So, it's all you can ask for on the road is to have an opportunity to win the game in the last 4 minutes, and we stepped up and made a few plays. But that one's behind us, and as so happens when you're in conference play in 20 games, it's and you're in the Big Ten, it's another great opponent. Rutgers is probably playing as well as anybody in our conference. They're as deep as anybody in our conference. They're tremendous experience. I think Miles Johnson is one of the most improved players in our league from his freshman year to his sophomore campaign. They're physical. They're an extremely good rebounding team, and they cause matchup problems with Harper playing a lot at the 4 spot. So it's a team that is came in here and they're going to play extremely hard. It was an overtime game last year, a game where Georgie was exceptional. It took every one of those points. So I expect a little different game in terms of style of play. They're about a third of their points come in transition under 10 seconds. And Jacob Young is elite in transition. So we've got to be good there. And then it's a scrum once it goes up on the glass. So it's 2 top 10 rebounding teams, and we're going to have to do battle there.
What challenge does Rutgers maybe present where, maybe outside of Johnson, they've just got a bunch of guys that are 6'4" to 6'7" and seem like kind of interchangeable?
Well, they got very big guards. Obviously, Caleb McConnell. McConnell's another guy that had a big game against us last year, being 6'5", 6'6" at the point. They've got a young kid, Mulcahy, that's as a freshman, 6'5", 6'6", plays the point. And, so they can create some disadvantages from a size standpoint with that. They're an extremely handsy team with that length and size on the defensive side, so they use it to their advantage. And then Harper's a guy that, 245, 250 pounds, that is very skilled, can shoot the 3, can put it on the floor. They're now putting him in a lot of ball screens. So they can cause you some mismatch problems because they're basically positionless 1 through 4.
Brad, not having that letdown in Madison after a good win against Purdue, is that a sign of maturity and growth, and how do you keep that going?
Well, I think it's you talk about momentum. You want to build momentum. You don't want to become satisfied. The 20 games is a long season, and you want to take every game for its face value. It's the next game on the schedule, so it's the most important game. And it was a great road win. It was big for our fans to get that kind of monkey off our back, but for our players, it was a great road win in conference play. And now, you've got to build on that by coming home and again, facing Rutgers, there's no easy ones. So, it's kind of the most important game's the next one, and hopefully we're as good as we can be, because we'll have to be to beat them.
Brad, what can you say about pace for tomorrow? Obviously, Wisconsin's a team that really wants to slow the game down. Rutgers seems a little bit more frenetic. Is it important for you to have a certain type of pace tomorrow?
Well, I think we always like to play fast when it's opportunistic. I think it becomes a game about field goal attempts, and I mean that in terms of offensive glass and limiting them to one shot, and us creating opportunities. And then you've got to avoid turnovers. And, live ball turnovers, they punish you with live ball turnovers. So, I expect it to be a little different pace, obviously, than the last two. But, it's something that we practice and we work on as well.
On the theme of turnovers, has the coaching staff done anything to hone the high-low between Kipper and Georgie to Kofi?
Yeah, I think we haven't done it as much. It's I don't want to say that we've taken that out, but we start when teams don't guard those guys up there. We've turned it into a lot of naked screening action, some quick reversals. We had 2 or 3 opportunities against Wisconsin, but it's about making the right passes, and not every time.
Everybody's looking for road wins in this league. They're hard to get. Is there an emphasis in the locker room on trying to make this a place where you can't get one?
Yeah, we want it to be that kind of place. We want it to be that kind of environment, and there's no letdowns. And we talk about in the off season, Derek. Every game's going to be, a 2 or 3 possession game at the end, and you've got to be able to execute. You got to be tough, and you've got to be able to withstand those. And the environment helps, the culture helps, the fans help. We got great fans, and we put a lot of people in this arena every night, and there's no doubt that it energizes our guys. So we're gonna have to have everybody tomorrow.
Brad, the players say there's a confidence about this team right now. For you guys as a coaching staff, outside of them just telling you they're confident, how can you read a confidence about them on the floor and with their play?
Well, I think you gain that from a game like the Wisconsin game. I think you gain some confidence when you beat a Purdue team, because they're top 10 in the country defensively. You gain some confidence when you execute down the stretch and make winning plays, and it's the consistency that comes from practice and stressing them in practice, so that when they get in the games, they can make those, have the confidence to go make those plays. And whether it's Trent's 3 or Allen's 3s, or it's just a experience helps there. But yeah, I think there's no doubt we're playing with more confidence. But you're only as good as your effort, and we have to be. Our effort will lead to that confidence.
Because he had to sit for so long and kind of got up and down because of foul trouble rhythm-wise, how hard is it to do what Allen did late and make those shots? And in your experience, he has said it's not very hard. Trent has said as a shooter it's not very hard. In your experience, how hard is that?
I was an okay shooter. It's hard, and it's challenging. Now he got to play enough in the second half, but again, when you don't find a rhythm early, it becomes more of the mental piece, and Allen's really good at handling that. Nothing bothers Allen too much one way or the other. He's a pretty tough kid and tough-minded, but he just plays, man, and that's the one thing. It's one possession to the next with Allen, and I love that about him.
Could he have done that last year?
I probably wouldn't have put him in that position last year. He didn't deserve it then. His confidence, he's earned the right to have that, and you have to earn that right with consistency and work, and that's why I say he's the greatest example of having to go through a process to become successful, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's the important part of they come here as boys growing into a man and becoming a really good player. Is you got to deal with some hiccups and some speed bumps, and Allen dealt with that, and now he's matured, and he never got his dauber down. He's just kept the grindstone, and now we're starting to see that guy, and that's exciting.
The success you had with Io off the ball screen late, I know you've run ball screens before, but was that a growth point or a step forward with that particular look offensively?
Yeah, I mean it's we do 4 or 5 different things with Io off ball screens, and that one happened to be semi-successful in that game. There was 3 or 4 plays. Actually, we ran out of that, trying to confuse tags and do some different things, but made the right passes at the right time, and that's what good players do. It's never just about them. It's always about the play and making the right play, and Io made the right play on every one of those.
11 a.m. is a pretty early start time. How does that affect your pregame routine, and does it present any challenges?
It's different. We don't have a full-blown shoot-around at that time. Otherwise we pregame 4 hours before, but we will be up, and we'll be on the court with a walkthrough, and then guys can shoot. I call it deadheading. We won't deadhead into this game, show up before the game and play. We get them up and moving, so that routine stays the same, but the on-the-court stuff will be just a little bit different.
Coach, it's Lou Henson's 88th birthday today. Have you reached out to him? Do you plan to any message to him?
Oh, absolutely. Had lunch with Coach yesterday. If there's the epitome of a tough guy, it's Coach. And he was great yesterday, and a group of us had a great lunch. And of course, with Coach, all he's going to talk about is ball and officiating. So we got to have a nice conversation, and I hope I'm as fortunate to be 88 and as sharp and as mentally tough as he is.
So one of Kofi or Georgie in the last few games has dealt with 2 fouls in the first half. I mean, I guess one, is that a point of concern, and 2, I mean, how do you feel like maybe this team has figured out how to get through those situations?
Yeah, Kipper Nichols. Kipper's been great. Kipper's been great. That was the one thing that I was really pleased with in the Wisconsin game, was we managed the first half, and we had to throw some different looks. We played small ball a little bit with DeMonte at the 4. Jermaine gave us a couple of minutes, and all you're trying to do is buy minutes, and the lead never really changed. We kept it right there. Guys, you run different sets or do a few different things to emphasize maybe the lineup you have, but fouls happen, and we got to make those adjustments every game, and we sure don't want it to be habit, but it's going to happen sometimes, and Kip's been great, especially on the defensive end.
Following up on the concept of the next game is the most important game, I'm wondering if you watched Michigan and Purdue last night, or if that's just what Jeff and Jamal do.
I do not. I will watch scores, and I was saying in here, that's one of the hardest things for me to do, is I watch 4 or 5 games of every opponent, and I love our conference. I love our league. It's the best in the country, but just watching them, that's not entertainment for me. So I don't, and I'll follow a score, but watching games, I don't. Thank you. See you tomorrow.